I used to fly in the previous job. Joe flies what, 4 flights a week now? Is it, Joe? You fly a lot.
No, just the last couple of weeks it's been a lot, but
Okay. Okay. Well, we say that because we're jealous. We want to fly like Joe does. That'd be good. So, anytime I see a story about flying, it's fun, and I like sharing these stories. And there's a guy in Florida man, look out, that got convicted. He allegedly posed as a flight attendant. He was able to take 100 free flights because if you're an attendant, you get on the flight for free. So, he poses attendant. Actually, the story says more than 120 free airline flights. How about that? Now, apparently, he didn't serve as attendant. He just, he exploited a program intended for airline staff where, he said, "Hey, I'm attendant." So, like, great, you get on the flight for free. So, he kind of cheated the system. He got a bunch of flights, and now he's busted. So
wait a minute. To get on a flight, I've got to spend 4 days at TSA when I could just be like, I'm actually a flight attendant, and I can just go right on the plane.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, he did that. And they said that there were a couple flights where he actually impersonated a flight attendant. Now, okay, this is a problem. I think I've gotten myself in trouble in the past where it seems like I've endorsed felonious behavior. Like the fake football team, I was like, felonies are cool. And, you can take that out of context. You guys have accused me of being a communist. I shouldn't embrace this type of stuff. But I'm going to, play to my previous sense. If you're impersonating a flight attendant, as long as you're not doing anything inappropriate or wrong, doesn't that help in some ways? Because, okay, well, let's say there's a lot of jobs out there where people are having a hard time finding qualified applicants, So sometimes, I don't know what the current flight attendant industry is, but I'm sure there's some that are like, wow, we're looking for good applicants, and we have a shortage of people right now. We need more people. Well, this guy, he's willing to fill the bill. He's like, look, I'll pretend to be a flight attendant. What do you have to do?
But is he actually Is he actually doing the? It sounds like he's just pretending to get on the flight. But is he actually like serving cokes or like what?
Well, and so good point. And I don't want to justify this guy's behavior. I think this guy was just trying to pretend to be a flight attendant just to get on for free. But they said there was once or twice we actually did some of the duties. So here's what I'm thinking. Okay, if you go to fly, we all have tight budgets. We don't have much money to do that. So could there be a program where if you sit there and say, hey, I don't have the money to buy a ticket, but I will serve flight attendant duties. I'll go around, I'll give out the drinks, I'll take orders and stuff like that. Isn't that enough to get a discount? So we help the airlines, okay, because the airlines need more flight attendants. We're serving as a flight attendant, and it helps us because we'll get cheaper tickets. Joe, you fly a lot. Would that help? No. It's like amateur flight attendants.
No,
because then you get a flight of 100 flight attendants.
There's any number of things that you do not want a part-timer or an amateur or just some other, let's generously call them ignorant person who is ignorant of what it is that they actually need to do for this job. I mean, as somebody who regularly, because I fly as on a buddy pass, which is through my brother. So I'm a buddy pass rider, and I'm one of the last people to get put on a plane. So I'm assuming that this person was flying, saying that I'm a full employee, but I'm not working this flight. And sometimes there's a lot that goes into flight crews having to be, if they're in one place, they have to get to another one in order to be able to then service a flight later on. So I'm assuming it was a lot of that, like getting on a flight saying I'm I need to go to the hub so
Right.
that I can start working the flights from Chicago to LA or something, some such thing. Well, where's my point? Oh, okay. So like I end up getting seated a lot of times in the exit row,
Right.
the over the wing. The view's terrible, but there's a little bit of extra leg room. But they have to go through and ask every time if this plane is going down
Right.
and or has crashed or something. Will you be willing to help? And they need to get a verbal yes from everybody who's in the thing. You can't just nod. You can't say mm-hmm. You have to say yes. That the lowest level of agreement to do is regularly a difficult thing to get.
Okay.
So I don't. This is just somebody who has to say, "I will help by opening the door when we've crashed and need to get out."
Mhm.
Right? We can't get people to agree to help that way.
Oh,
Why would we want regular people volunteering to give the demonstration? Here's the mask. Like, that's important safety information. Who's going to volunteer to be helpful when the crazy lady starts yelling about how there's somebody in the back who may or may not be real? Do we want volunteers to do that? We've had conversations about what happens when somebody passes away on a flight.
That's true.
Do you want a volunteer to help corral the corpse and properly handle and deal with someone who has passed away on the flight? There's just so many things that go into it. If it were just passing out peanuts, great.
Right.
But it's not, and so there's I do not want volunteers doing this.
Yeah, if I'm volunteering and somebody drops their drawers and starts doing their, I'm like, not my circus, not my monkeys, man.
Hey, no.
But the thought was, this is how you get a free ticket on that flight. So if you're not willing to put up with that, it's like, all right, you gotta get out, But that'd be awkward. What if you're halfway through the flight? Like you can't.
Gotta get out.
But I'm interested to know with this article, does it go further into like charges that are pending against this person? Because at that point, your flight attendants have certain responsibilities like a federal agent. Are you impersonating a federal agent if you are pretending to be a flight attendant?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, and they were saying,
seems like it's going to be bad. Seems like it's going to be bad.
Well, and they said he impersonated a flight attendant on 3 other airline carriers. I'm kind of wondering if this guy, in essence, he's committing theft. Like you have a buddy system. It'd be like if you let me and Paul use the buddy system. In essence, that's theft because you're allowed to do it with your family. We're just friends, so if we use it, it's theft. So
technically, I'm not on a family plan because I'm his brother. My parents were, and if he had a family, there is a ranking or rating for people who are family members. But because I'm a brother, I just get a pass that he could give to anybody.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy's committing theft. I think that's the problem.
Sure.
So I'm not encouraging.
Well, the impersonation of a federal officer and to do the things, especially the safety type of things that are required of them. Ooh, that's not good. It's not good.
Well, from what the article says, I think he just had the badges where, you're impersonating that way. Now, like you said, if something weird happened, like say there was a hijacking or something else like that, and it's rough. You can say, look at him and say, all right, you're good to go. And the guy's like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's tough. So I guess what I'm saying is I don't want to ever encourage that for those out there that think I'm encouraging crime or anything. I'm just saying in the future, could this help where, we don't want people lying and, commit thefts, but we just sit there and say, hey, we're 2 flight attendants short. Somebody can help us out and you get a free flight. And you guys raised some points of why that could be a bad idea. Like if someone drops their drawers or, causes a fight. But how many times does that happen? I mean, I think most flights are just nice and calm. You just, and, it's on you. If you do something bad during the flight, like if you do something inappropriate with one of the passengers or if you spill stuff on them, hey, it's on you. You have to pay for it or something. I don't know. Maybe this is a bad idea, but I think we can help.
I like that sometimes if we just let you talk yourself out of it.
Yeah, I know.
And just
I talk myself in and out.
And you're just like, this is a great idea. But Chris, what about? Yeah, this is a bad idea.
You just went from Titanic was a better cruise than the poop cruise to all of a sudden you were promoting the poop cruise.
Oh, I still think that could be a good idea. So, yeah, check out that.
So, what if it were the poop flight? And what if all of the people who were supposed to deal with the excrement were volunteers?
I don't know. That'd be tough. Oh, let me tell you. Speaking of poop, let me tell you a fun story that happened. And again, if anybody from our work listens to this, I'm having fun. We're all having fun with the situation. Our bathrooms are under repair. So we have like 3 floors in our building. Right now, the first floor is the only floor that has working bathrooms. Well, in their efforts to try to resolve the issue, I work middays on Saturdays. They sent a note out there saying, hey, all the bathrooms are going to be out of order from 12 to 2. There will be a porta potty in the parking lot if you have to go. And man, I was a little bit freaked out because, as I've said before, when I have to go, I have to go. I'm not like a Campbell where I say, oh, I have to go. I'll just hold it for 4 hours and I'll be good to go. No, I have to go. And I was joking around with the guy I worked with, on Saturday going, hey, I've had this problem. There's podcasts where I've detailed this, what happened. And thankfully, we had a pretty big breaking story where we were kind of running around trying to cover this breaking story. But, man, if I was just sitting there thinking, man, I could have been in trouble. Because sometimes if you think about not having to go, you have to go, right? I was a little bit freaked out, man. I was like, what if I can't make it to the porta potty in the parking lot? It's going to be rough. And it's your work, too. You don't want to have issues at work,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's very rough.
So. Well, I'm very proud of you for surviving as long as you did.
I'm blessed by the pride.
Hashtag
poop pride. Poop pride. How about that? Let's see if we can get that trending around America. Can you imagine that?
Let's not do that.
Poop pride. It's rough. All right. Well, let us know what you think about flights. Should you get a free flight if you're a flight attendant? I know Paul and Joe bring up all these issues of bad things that could happen, but this happens 1% of the time. If that, I don't know. So let us know what you think. Give us a like and subscribe, and have a great night.